Hi, my name is Rohan Deshmukh, and if you're following over from the last part, then you probably remember me as the guy who kind of gave an introduction about this whole entire video series about what extemporaneous speaking is and what I'm going to be hopefully trying to achieve with you guys throughout this entire video series. So if you're following over from the last part, then this video is going to be a sort of introduction to what extemporaneous speaking is, the basics, the rules, and kind of an introduction to what I'm going to be speaking about later in later topic analysis videos. So when I first got introduced to the event of extemporaneous speaking, I really had no idea what it was. But after kind of learning a little bit about it and thinking about it, a couple of words came to my mind when it came to trying to think about what extemporaneous speaking was. And the two overriding words that came to my mind were spontaneity and on-the-spot thinking. Now, if these words are coming to your mind, then you are on absolutely the correct track in terms of the thinking necessary about what extemporaneous speaking is. It's a speech that's delivered entirely from memory, given a certain amount of prep time, and you have to speak for a certain amount of time. And that's something that I'm going to get into as this video progresses. So if we go to the National Speech and Debate Organization's website, or the National Speech and Debate Association's website, excuse me, they define extemporaneous speaking as follows: a style of competitive speaking sponsored by the NSDA, identical in structure with both international and national extemp, except that the topics are going to be varying for each specific style. So essentially what this means is that extemp runs in both ways in international and national extemp. The only difference is going to be the types of questions that you get. So in international extemp, for example, you could be posed with a question, what should Israel do in regards to Gaza in the upcoming year? Whereas a national extemp topic might be something to the effect of, what should President Obama do in regards to boosting the economy in the coming year? So you can see that there's a slight difference when it comes to the questions, as the United States questions are focused on obviously United States topics, whereas the foreign extemp questions are focused on foreign affairs issues. But we're going to see that throughout this video series, I'm going to continually emphasize that the speaking style should remain the same for any type of extemp, both international and national as well. So the speech is going to be delivered from memory, and generally the best speeches are given by the people who have the ability to utilize all of the preparation time and maximize it to be able to create a speech that is both aesthetically pleasing in terms of oratorical style, humor, jokes, etc., while also having a large amount of analysis from credible news sources. And so I'll kind of get into this in this video. So when it comes to giving speeches, there's two types of styles that work well. Styles that employ humor and styles that apply analysis, hard facts. And the speeches that do the best in extemp are able to find the best of both. And this is essentially what you should be doing when you're given your preparation time. So the way an extemp tournament or a round usually works is that you will come to the tournament in the morning and look on a sheet of paper at a place that is called a postings area. And so after you've gotten your code from your coach, you'll look on the paper and see which place you're going to be speaking. Either you're the first speaker, second speaker, third, fourth, etc. After that, you will go into what is called the preparation room. This is a pre-designated room where all of the people who are competing in the event for the day will sit and prepare their speeches. Now, when your time has been called for you to be the first speaker, second speaker, etc., you will go up and you will be handed a sheet of paper with either international or national topics, and you will have 3 topics on that sheet of paper. And from those 3 topics, you will then in your mind try and think about which topic you think you will be able to give the best speech on, and then you will select one out of those 3 topics and let the person who's running the prep room know which topic you are selecting. After that, you will go back and sit down, and you will have 30 minutes to prepare a 5 to 7 minute speech that is to be delivered from memory, like I said earlier. And while many people, when they first get to extemp, think, oh, I can't really make a 5 to 7 minute speech without any help, they quickly find out that there is a large amount of help when it comes to preparing extemporaneous speaking topics, because you are allowed different types of media outlets. So one of the media outlets that many people utilize are magazines. Magazines such as Time Magazine, The Economist, The Wall Street Journal, etc. All these types of magazines can be utilized to try and get hard facts behind your argument. As well, you can be utilizing newspapers such as the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, the Washington Post, etc. Newspapers are great places to try and look for quotations that have been pulled from famous people, from writers, etc., who analyze these topics on a day-to-day basis, and then you can use it to make your argument seem that much more appealing and have that analysis to back it up for the judges. As well, you can utilize books, and you could utilize internet sources that have been pre-saved on the computer. And for each league, the rules will kind of differ when it comes to using the internet. Using a computer, but the one rule that stays steadfast throughout the entirety of the National Speech and Debate Association is that internet is not allowed. So if you're going to be using an internet source, it has to be a pre-saved PDF file or a pre-saved HTML file or something of that effect, and then it has to be saved on your computer so that you can use it and you aren't allowed to access the internet utilizing Wi-Fi or a LAN network or anything like that. No internet whatsoever. You'll be DQ'd, disqualified, which you don't want. So after you've prepared your 5 to 7 minute speech in the 30 minutes, you will then be called by the judge to a pre-designated room where you're going to be speaking to them and generally one other person, a timer, for 5 to 7 minutes, and then afterwards you'll leave the room and then you'll go back to the prep room, pick up your stuff, and then do whatever you do for the rest of the tournament. And judges will hear generally between 5 to 7 speeches in a round, depending on the amount of competitors in a tournament. And the way the tournament will run depends on the amount of competitors they have. So if it's a single-day tournament, tournaments that run one day, such as league tournaments or small invitationals, they'll generally have 3 rounds and 1 final round. So rounds 1, 2, and 3, and then they'll take the 7 best people generally who have the highest ranks from the judges and then put them in the final round. Tournaments that run longer than this, i.e. 2 or 3 day tournaments, they'll have multiple rounds. So they'll have 3 or 4 preliminary rounds, and they'll have like a quarterfinal, semifinal, and then a final round, and they'll just keep breaking people down into those rounds depending on how they do at that tournament specifically with the ranks from the judges. So that is kind of just a very brief introduction to what Extemp is, and I hope that you guys have kind of gotten a better understanding of what the event is and what it entails. And in the next video, I'm going to be going into more about what kind of strategies can be utilized when it comes to extemporaneous speaking in round, and how you can start preparing yourself for the first speech that you give of the season and the first tournament as well. So I hope you guys were able to get a little bit of an introduction to what Extemp is, and I will see you guys in the next video.